Everywhere you look, the rich history of the United Kingdom is there to be seen. But hidden beneath our feet, there's still a wealth of archaeological treasure just waiting to be found. That's why each year, all across the country, our archaeologists dig, dive, and explore their way down.
Oh my God! Some of the best stuff you're ever going to see. Oh wow.
Look at this. We got an arrowhead.
Searching for fresh discoveries.
Hypercaust.
Revealing the imprint of ancient civilizations.
It's been there for 5,500 years.
And unearthing fascinating objects.
Fantastic decoration.
Any musket balls yet, Aaron?
Wow, look at that.
Every dig adds new pieces to the ever-growing archaeological jigsaw that is the epic story of our islands.
And I'm down.
This year, I visit digs in some extraordinary locations and solve mysteries using cutting-edge tools.
Oh, this is wonderful.
I'm joined by a trio of expert investigators.
So you can see how that gives you a really unique signature.
That's right. Excellent. So they were using food as a type of bribery.
Who dig deeper to answer the questions raised by the finds.
That's how he got away with it.
Exactly.
Finally, the archaeologists bring their best discoveries into our tent
Yeah, it's a cracking find.
for up-close analysis.
So it's completely unique in Britain. That's wonderful.
Welcome to Digging for Britain. This time we take a look at the most exciting archaeology being uncovered in the west of the UK. In Herefordshire, we unearth the secrets beneath one of Britain's most mystical monuments.
It's extraordinary because what we can see on the surface literally is just the tip of the iceberg.
The mystery of a long-lost friary in Haverfordwest is finally solved.
We think it's a priest burial, and it is rare. I've never seen it before.
Oh my God. Some of the best stuff you're ever going to see.
What?
Oh my God.
And in Cheshire, I dig deep,
Oh, this is getting a bit narrow.
going down a mine that's been untouched for centuries.
Is that an old collapse? It's
An
not a
old
recent
collapse.
collapse. No, good.
Very
Yes.
old collapse.
Travel west from Middle England and mid-Wales rises up as the Black Mountains. The rains that fall here become streams and then rivers, and eventually they flow along the floodplains of the Golden Valley back into England. Our first dig is on that border between England and Wales, near a village called Dalston in Herefordshire.
The crown jewel of this ancient landscape is up here on the crest of the hill. It is Arthur's stone. And it has nothing to do with that entirely mythical king, of course. Instead, it's a Neolithic monument that's been here for thousands of years.
Around 6,000 years ago, Britain's hunter-gatherers were replaced by farmers. The Neolithic was the final phase of the Stone Age. Arthur's stone is a chambered tomb called a dolmen, and its construction is thought to predate Stonehenge. So no surprise then, it's also a scheduled ancient monument protected by law. No in-depth archaeology has ever happened here, and so these great stones, their purpose, and how they connect to the land that surrounds them is a mystery. But this year, Manchester University's Julian Thomas got permission to undertake a major investigation.
Julian, you're here because there are unanswered questions.
Yeah, this site, considering its position so beautifully, we understand very little about it. So we're trying to tease out the history of this site and trying to work out its sequence of construction.
You want to know the real story, but actually there are a lot of myths associated with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's the idea that King Arthur slew a giant here, the giant fell back and broke the capstone, or perhaps he knelt in prayer on top of the capstone. And then more recently, C.S. Lewis took the idea of the stone table on which Aslan is slain from this as well as an inspiration. So it's as if this place seems to attract activity and attract stories.
We've got these stones. What was this? Is this a chamber that was covered up under a mound?
Well, I think what is important there is the capstone as something that's visible, because it's evidence of a feat of mobilising people and mobilising labour, which then almost levitates here as something which is just going to be remarkable to people in the Neolithic.
And is this a capstone that is broken, or is it two stones?
It is a capstone that's broken, and it's entirely possible that it broke during construction.
The two halves of the capstone are supported by upright stones to create a chamber, and there's an entrance corridor at each end. But Julian is not digging amongst these stones, but in the ground around them.
You are actually digging into the mound to see how that was
We're
constructed.
digging into the mound because rather than just a pile of stones, it seems that it's actually been put together in a very careful, very skillful way.
So can we go and have a look in the trenches?
Yeah, let's go this way.
This is unprecedented. It's an incredible opportunity. Julian's team has been allowed to actually excavate in several specific sections of the mound, revealing intricate Neolithic stonework.
There's
Look at this.
something rather interesting. Look at that. So is this is just rubble that's fallen down over the top of it, is it?
Yeah, but underneath it is this surface of dry stone walling, which has been there for 5,500 years.
That is gorgeous. Did you expect it to be there?
Well, we hope there might be something like this, but this is far better than we possibly imagined.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
That's just lovely. And it's got a bit of a curve to it.
Yeah, just defining a quite small forecourt area here.
So this wall is forming a kind of bulbous horseshoe shape.
Yeah, it's going right the way round the mound.
Julian isn't just here to get to the bottom of exactly when and how the mound was built. Experience tells him larger Neolithic features might surround this monument. So his team have opened 2 wide trenches. And now something quite extraordinary is appearing.
And here we've got this avenue of posts coming down and
That's
disappearing.
fantastic. A wonderful line.
Yeah.
A huge post holes. So these would have held really substantial timbers.
Yeah, telegraph poles.
Yeah.
So we've got a line of at least 15 coming down in this direction, and we've got the other side of the avenue coming through in that trench now.
It's extraordinary because it means that what we can see on the surface today, you know, literally is just the tip of the iceberg.
It really is, and we only dug here in the first place because we thought there might be pits or post holes.
The discovery of this impressive ceremonial entranceway suggests there's far more yet to uncover on this site. Normally, scanning and survey techniques on the ground can reveal the best places to dig. But this clay-rich soil is almost impossible to scan through, so the team is using a new technique to see what lies beneath. Adam Stanford is pioneering archaeological surveying using specialised drones.
So Adam, you and Scott are here doing this aerial survey. What does that entail?
First of all, we're doing photogrammetry.
Yeah.
So that means that we're taking lots and lots of photographs that overlap.
I've
Yeah.
seen it a lot of trenches on the ground, but you can actually take it up high and do it.
Absolutely. We can survey hundreds of hectares of landscape like that.
Yeah.
Here, we're doing around about 40 hectares around Arthur's Stone.
Archaeologists down in the trenches use handheld cameras, but the drone uses GPS to move between hundreds of precise positions, each time snapping a high-resolution image. Then the magic happens as specialist software is used to stitch these pictures together into a 3D model. The result is an extraordinarily detailed and accurate record of one of Britain's most famous ancient monuments.
So what else are you doing apart from photogrammetry?
So Scott's just taken off with another drone which has got a thermal camera on it. So we're looking at the difference in temperature of the ground.
Right.
And so let's say, for example, we've got rocks just below the grass.
Yeah.
That's going to get hot during the day and it's going to retain the heat for longer than the surrounding soils. But then we can see that there are gaps where the geology should continue and then it doesn't. Is that because it's quarrying for the site here?
So you're seeing features that you don't see on the surface
Absolutely.
walking around.
Then the other technique that we're using is multispectral imaging. So this is looking at the different bands of light that come down and bounce off the ground that we can't see with the human eye.
So what does that tell you?
For a site like this, we're looking at the difference in the amount of chlorophyll in those plants. And the health of the plants, indicated by the chlorophyll, will then tell us if there's anything underneath the ground which is affecting the health of the plants.
So this is seeing crop marks that you can't actually see with the naked eye?
Absolutely.
Yeah, amazing tools for the archaeologists to be able to draw on, not just to record the site, but to plan whatever they're going to do in the future as well.
Adam's survey results are adding to an already huge haul of completely new information that the team are collecting here. It all means that Julian is starting to unpick the real history behind Arthur's stone.
How many phases are you finding then? What's the sequence of events here?
The sequence seems to be we've got our turf mound, which is then cut by this series of post holes. Then we must have the big stone mound, and somewhere in that whole sequence we've got to add the dolmen chamber as well.
Yeah.
So there's 5 or 6 different phases in this whole monumental complex, and all of that is probably taking 200 or 300 years.
I can imagine it's quite a nerve-wracking thing to open it up like this to see what's going on.
Yeah, what is really scary is wherever we've opened up a hole here, we found something completely unexpected.
What they're finding here is really exciting because we've got this dolmen, but there's an earlier phase which involved an earthen mound, and probably around the same time we've got a series of massive posts set in the ground in those huge post holes, forming a sort of processionary way up to this mound. And who knows, they might have had banners fluttering from them. And then it seems we have the construction of this megalithic dolmen, and then this becomes a tomb. It's a chambered tomb, so there would have been bodies, bits of bodies placed in there. And these were communal tombs. And there's another monument which goes right over the top of both of these structures. So the earthen mound disappears underneath it, and it has this kind of strange two-pronged entranceway at the front there. And that is encircled by that beautiful dry stone wall going around the outside. So in a very sketchy way, that's what Julian and the team have discovered here at Dalston this summer.
Our ancestors built their megalithic monument on top of this scenic hill, a place to see and be seen. But the seductive landscape of the West is not just about looks. What lies beneath, hidden in the rocks, has been a magnet for industrious Britons for centuries. For our next site, we travelled to Cheshire and an elevated ridge full of fascinating geology known as Alderley Edge. The rocks here date back more than 200 million years. But this story is set much more recently, at the dawn of Britain's industrial boom.
Alderley Edge is a magical place. It's wreathed in myth and legend, and it's absolutely steeped in archaeology. We know that Bronze Age miners were here 4,000 years ago digging for copper ore. We know the Romans were here digging for lead ore. But the archaeology I've come to see is much more recent. It dates from 2 centuries ago, but it has only just come to light.
In 2021, strange depressions appeared in the ground, so local cavers investigated and discovered a deep vertical shaft. This led to a completely unknown early 19th century mine network.
That's where you come out of the shaft, and you come into this chamber. It goes on that way, and then that way.
They filmed their very first exploration.
Oh my God! It's a tiny little chamber,
Yeah.
but some of the best stuff you're ever going to see.
What?
Oh my God!
A survey company was called in to map the full 200 metres of the mine, creating this 3D image of the labyrinth that lies underground. Since then, an access hatch and a winch have been installed. And today I'm joining Derbyshire Caving Club for some further fact-finding.
No, that's still really.
But first, team leader Ed Coughlin, who helped discover the mine, has some finds to show me.
There's a clay pipe, so they were smoking down there.
These wonderful personal items and tools are datable to around 200 years ago, when this mine was abandoned.
Presumably these are what was actually used to mine the ore and extract it.
Yes, it was all hand dug here.
What's this vessel?
So this was a bowl that was found buried in a wall,
Why do you think they might have left a bowl like this down there?
as they were very superstitious miners.
Were they?
They would often sort of say thank you as a keep the mine spirits happy.
Yeah.
They're known as knockers. You'd often hear a knocking noise to signify head this way, you're doing well, sort of thing.
Of course, I absolutely don't believe in such superstitions, but I hope the mine spirits are going to be very, very kind to us today.
I'm sure they will be.
And we're putting their bowl back, so they should be.
As you pull down the lever, you can feed the rope into it.
Lovely.
I'm going to accompany Ed on a sort of reverse archaeological dig, placing some of these objects back where they were found.
Oh, mind your head.
And retracing the footsteps of those early miners who left them behind.
So we're a lean, mean team here at Alderley Edge. We're with Derbyshire Caving Club. And then in terms of our own team, it is just me and the cameraman Colin going down there because it's going to be a tight, tight squeeze. But it's a unique opportunity to see this newly discovered part of the mines.
Our exploration will take us along more than 100 metres of tunnels to the deepest accessible point of the mine shaft.
Rope's free. Remember, the cable will take you.
Right, I'm coming down. Oh, I can see all the pick marks from the people that actually dug out this shaft. And I'm down. I made it. And it's completely pitch black down here. And Ed's gone. He's disappeared. Ed, wait for us.
Now the hard work begins. As we follow in the footsteps of those 19th century miners,
Oh, I can stand up here.
their prized treasure is revealed. Not copper or lead,
Oh, wow.
but something much rarer, cobalt.
That is cobalt, is it?
Yeah.
That black. So this is what they were here for?
Yep.
This is the cobalt ore, and it's beautiful. It's sparkling. It's almost indigo. And they're following these veins of cobalt through the rocks here.
In the early 1800s, this raw material was in great demand as Britain's manufacturing industries boomed. Blue cobalt-based dyes were used to embellish a range of products from glassware to paper and top-of-the-range ceramics. But in 1806, Napoleon blockaded exports from Europe to Britain, cutting the supply of cheap cobalt from the continent. So new British sources were sought out, and in 1808, this rich seam was opened at Alderley Edge and the miners set to work.
That was the shoe that we found.
So do you think that is a 19th century shoe?
Yes, it is of the era.
Yeah.
There are reminders everywhere of the men who spent many hours down here working in the dark.
You can actually see the remnants of the clay that they'd used to hold the candles in place.
Oh, yeah.
You see the soot up there?
So they would have been doing this by candlelight?
Yeah.
At this point, we need to return one of Ed's prized finds to its original place in the mine.
This is the wedge.
So that, a wedge like that would have been just hammered into the wall?
These are the wedge marks.
So that's where a wedge has gone in, and then this whole block has fallen down?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they've been coming into this.
The cobalt was separated, then the remaining sandstone cleared and neatly stacked.
It was an art.
Almost like dry stone walling, yeah.
Whether you want to set it off like in that.
Yeah, we could do.
Here we're joined by surveyors Kira and Josh.
Time for some scanning.
Yeah.
They've been creating the 3D map of the mine, and today they're recording even more details of this intricate space.
We collect the data with the laser scanners, and they collect 1 million points a second.
Right.
So they can pick up spaces in the rocks that you can't actually see with your, human eye.
So it's an amazing way to record it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Their data has created this impressive digital model of the mine. It's a brilliant tool for understanding the layout, but this virtual fly-through makes it look rather too easy.
Oh, this is getting a bit narrow. It's got pretty tight down here. It's going to get a bit wider, isn't it, though, Ed?
Yes, definitely.
Excellent.
The tunnel twists and turns, and then a sudden drop to a dead end.
Have you got any ambitions to clear that out and explore down there?
We'd love to, but we daren't disturb that.
This will be disturbed, and this would all collapse down on top of you.
Yeah. Right, so we're going to go down there and through the hole.
Oh, we're going down there?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
There is a way through, and it is well worth it. In this impossibly narrow pocket,
Oh, my God.
one of the cobalt miners has left his mark.
Oh, that's amazing. Is that done with the soot of a candle?
Yep.
So, on the 20th of August, 1810, there was a miner in here holding a candle up to the ceiling and just let the smoke create this graffiti. Very lovely handwriting. That's brilliant, and I must say, brilliantly spotted, Ed.
50 metres into the mine, and Ed shows me his most stunning find yet. The tool that miners use to haul the ore up from deep shafts.
This is the windlass.
That's amazing.
And this was a mining implement for hauling material from a lower level.
So it's a winch, basically?
Yes. And this is the hook that they were using for hooking the buckets up.
Oh, yeah. So this handle would have been turned?
Yes.
And then you've got this wooden shaft here with the rope coiled around it.
For us, it's quite an important one because it's the first one that's ever been found here.
Is it?
Yeah, to leave it here is an odd thing, but this passageway would have continued through, but at some point it has collapsed.
Is that an old collapse? It's not a recent collapse? No, good.
Very old collapse. So we have to go up and round it.
OK. Sounds simple, doesn't it?
At last, we reach our final destination.
So this is the end of the road. We can't go any further.
We're now at the deepest accessible part of the cobalt mine. From here on, the shafts are flooded.
Look at this.
But with the wonders of modern technology, there is a way to keep on exploring.
Oh, wow.
I know.
It's so clear.
Kira and Josh have a mini remote-controlled submersible.
Oh, it's in action. This is really exciting. Yeah.
Now it's my chance to try.
So if you want to have a go and see what...
Thank you.
So as I say, left, right, up and down on the left control.
Okay.
And then forwards, backwards.
Via the video feed from the submersible, I can search this underwater labyrinth for remnants of the mine's past.
It's still swimming, isn't it? It's swimming.
Still moving, just very slowly.
Yeah. Oh, I've just crashed the submersible.
You'll find that happens a lot.
Okay.
Once I get the hang of it, I guide our robo-archaeologist into a shaft that no one has set foot in for over 200 years.
Some of the pick marks.
Oh, yeah, the pick marks, yeah, on the walls. Oh, this is wonderful.
The dark blue veins of precious cobalt are clear to see.
Looks like it might be another shaft, a little bit like this.
Oh, I can see the light.
That's the lights of the submersible. Well, that was just fantastic. What a brilliant tool for exploring the mine. And it looks as though this mine continues quite a way. Really exciting to have a go as well. I love that.
Our time below is up. It's been almost as short-lived as the rush for British cobalt. Napoleon's defeat at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815 led to his surrender, and he was sent off into exile. With Europe at peace, cheaper continental cobalt started flowing back across the Channel again. And the Alderley Edge mine was wound down for good. Before leaving, there's one final stop to return the bowl left by miners as an offering to those mystical knockers.
And this is close to where it was actually found.
Yes.
Albeit in some 21st century Tupperware for ultimate protection from the elements.
There we go, so that's our offering to the spirits of the mine at Alderley Edge, and the spirits have treated us well today.
Yeah, a little bit more crawling than you thought, but...
Over Alderley Edge he took his course, where the day is endless night.
As we resurface,
Well met, said the man as he stood in the path.
there's a traditional Alderley Edge miners' serenade.
But the farmer said she's not for sale till I get to Michaelsfield Fair.
Thank you very much. That was amazing. Oh, that really is incredible down there. It feels like you're stepping into another world, and you are. You're going back in time 200 years ago to when the miners were there exploring those cobalt veins, chipping away, probably only making a metre or two of progress each day, but carving out this extraordinary system of tunnels, and they're all still there beneath our feet.
Give me faith and give me love, a fading from the clouds above, the sea below lends strings to bow. If I can't jump, just push and shove.
The ocean that laps at our shores is essential to the identity and history of our islands. Trade, adventure, new ideas have travelled back and forth across the seas that surround us. And it's in the ports around our coasts that some of the most compelling evidence of those connections emerges, although sometimes it's in danger of being swept away before archaeologists have the chance to get their hands on it.
Our next dig is at the site of a last-minute archaeological rescue in Plymouth on the Devon coast. Maritime tradition in Plymouth runs deep and long back through the centuries. It was from here in 1620 that the Mayflower set sail for the New World. In the following decades, this quayside was built and redeveloped, hiding numerous layers of construction. But in early 2022, a near disaster opened up a chance to explore the port's rich seafaring heritage.
Recently, a bulge was seen in the quay wall, and the tarmac was cracking.
The outer stonework had started showing its age. Plymouth University's Martin Reed was an interested onlooker.
So the danger was that the wall would fall into the sea and take not just the wharf with it, but quite possibly the road behind as well.
Urgent repair work began, but in order to save the quay wall, they had to remove unstable layers, revealing evidence of earlier construction.
I got talking to the workmen, and they were showing me the odd small fragment of pottery, and then one day they showed me something that was quite spectacular. This fragment of earthenware, which has this multicoloured slip and bright glaze.
This fragment belonged to a rare 17th century earthenware bowl from Pisa in Italy. So what was this doing in Plymouth? Keen to discover more, Martin enlisted volunteers to help him search. But they could only sift through the rubble from the old quay once it had been scooped away to safety.
And you can see we've got a skip load of fill from behind the quay wall, which the workmen have removed, and it's hell to go through.
Our team have been carrying out, as far as I'm aware, the first example of skip salvaging by archaeologists. So this is a very unusual site in many ways.
Their hard graft has paid off. In amongst the rubbish used as fill by the quay's early builders, the team has found a treasure trove of pottery fragments, suggesting Plymouth had far-reaching trading links.
We've got a range of different pottery here from all parts of the world. That, for example, comes, we think, from Italy.
It's going to be a platter from Florence.
During the 17th century, hundreds of ships would sail from Devon every year, heading for the rich fishing grounds off Newfoundland. They'd then sail on to Europe to sell some of their catch, and then return to England, bringing back not just fish, but also fine European goods. These exotic fragments of pottery from the collapsing quayside have a fascinating history to tell. So Martin has brought some of his best finds to the Digging for Britain tent.
So you've got your team of volunteers and they are finding lovely bits of pottery. But what does the archaeology tell us that we didn't know before?
What it provides is evidence of this trade in a sealed context.
Martin's finds have been traced to two distinct phases of the quay's development, one from the late 1660s and an earlier layer from the 1650s at the time of Oliver Cromwell's short-lived republic, otherwise known as the Commonwealth.
During the Commonwealth period, I can't identify any of the Southern European ceramics, but we are getting stuff from Germany and Holland.
Why?
Probably disruption by the Royalists, I think.
That's just beautiful with that blue glaze on it.
So this is Westerwald from the Rhineland, and they're very characteristic, this cobalt blue and the grey, and these have these animals on.
They're great. So this is just after the Civil War?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's in the 1650s. But then after the restoration, from the layers that we think are in the 1660s, then we're suddenly finding all of this material from Spain, France, Italy, Portugal.
This is lovely, this marbled pottery.
This is from Pisa in Italy, and it's just gorgeous. So this would have been an enormous great bowl.
Yeah.
Basically, fishermen were bringing back pottery from Iberia and the Mediterranean. So on some sites in Plymouth, 50% of the ceramics are Mediterranean. It's the highest proportion in England.
Is it?
Much higher than London.
That's remarkable that it's higher than London.
Well, in London, you had access to better wares locally, whereas in Plymouth, you just didn't. You can see who wouldn't want to eat off plates like this.
There's one thing that we haven't spoken about, Martin, and it's this. What is that?
Technically, it's known as a star bead, and it's our star find.
Is it?
It's from either Venice itself or an island in Venice Lagoon called Murano, which still makes glass today.
Glass, yeah.
And these would have been high status. They would have been somebody's expensive necklace who would have been very unhappy to have lost one bead.
What a nice collection to find in a skip. And brilliant that you spotted it, because the landfill of yesterday is the archaeology of today.
Yes, very true.
Over the centuries, Britain's elites stamped their presence on the landscape, creating monumental buildings that still exist as landmarks in our towns and countryside. At no time is this more true than under the Normans, during the medieval period. And our next dig takes us to the far western edge of Norman control, the Pembrokeshire market town of Haverfordwest. Its imposing castle reminds us that Haverfordwest was a key strategic stronghold for the Normans. What's left of its grand, once towering priory nearby shows this was also a key religious centre. The Augustinian monks chose to situate their priory outside the town, though. They would have been somewhat aloof from the ordinary people of medieval Haverfordwest. But there was one religious order that was embedded right in the heart of the community, though physical evidence of their existence has proved incredibly elusive until now. These were the Dominican friars, who, unlike those monks out in the priory, lived in town, providing support for those in need. Records show that their friary, St Saviour's, was founded around 1246 and remained right in the centre of Haverfordwest for hundreds of years. Henry VIII brought all of that activity to a sudden end, and the precinct with church, with stables, with gardens was built over and has disappeared from modern Haverfordwest. But there are still clues. Now, a major town centre project has given archaeologists an amazing chance to solve this mystery underneath what was a local department store. The demolition needed to clear the way for this new development has revealed what appears to be the site of the long-lost friary. And it's in here. Dyfed Archaeological Trust have been excavating here for several months. Only 5 Dominican friaries have been recorded in the whole of Wales, so if this is the elusive St Saviour's, it's a truly significant find. Fran! Hello!
Hello!
Fran Murphy is leading the dig.
Well, you've certainly got some archaeology here.
Yes, it's very intriguing archaeology.
Have you found the long-lost priory?
Well, I think we have. We're in the friary grounds, at least. But I'm not sure at the moment we have enough evidence to say that we are inside a building.
There are no old maps to work from, but they found what looks like an external wall, which probably surrounded the entire friary compound.
I mean, this is really exciting because you don't really see much evidence of medieval Haverfordwest at all.
No, I mean, this is the first excavation that's ever taken place in the medieval town of Haverfordwest.
The first ever?
First ever.
With its river trade links, Haverfordwest boomed in the 13th century. And as the town grew, so did people's day-to-day problems. It's thought that around 40 Dominican friars lived here, providing a lifeline to the poor and desperate. But evidence suggests their home was far from humble.
This was one of our earliest finds. It was found during an excavation of a post-medieval drain. A similar example of this tile was found in the Grey Friars in Carmarthen.
Lovely floor tiles.
Beautiful floor tiles.
So they've come out of this trench, but you don't think they're in situ?
No, I think these are what's been thrown away, the fragments of floor tiles that have come from the Friary Church of St Saviour's.
They're lovely.
They really are lovely.
Archaeological detective work links these tiles to other contemporary friaries.
The ones that I have had some advice on are 14th to 15th century in date. This one actually forms a roundel, a 16-tile pattern, which says Deo Gratias.
So they're well-known designs?
Yes.
Yeah.
They must have had a pattern book or something, and they bought them off the peg, if you like.
Like an IKEA
yeah.
friaries.
And we have ridge tiles. These are locally made, probably from the Llanstefan area, not far in Carmarthenshire.
Nice thing to have on your roof, though.
They're very nice. And you can imagine them, can't you, glinting in the sunshine when they're reflecting the glaze on them. The whole building would have been impressive, I think, and all indicative of a high-status monastic building.
Yeah. Where do you think it was, then, if it's not right here?
Well, I don't think the building material that has been dumped has moved very far, so I suggest it's just under that wall there.
Really?
Yes.
You can't dig that?
But no.
There's still a building on it.
There is, unfortunately. But I think what it has shown is we've definitely, I think, now pinpointed that it's here.
Franz found other tantalising clues that a high-status building occupied this site.
Well, these are more delicately carved stone that I think has come from the interior of the church.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a little angel's head.
That is beautiful. Look at that.
Expert stonemasons would have chiselled and shaped these exquisite carvings.
You can see its little face.
Yeah, I mean, it's damaged at the top there, but you can still see eyes, nose, mouth, and these little fingers here.
And he's holding something.
Yeah.
If this is St Saviour's, they would have taken care of the townsfolk in this life and into the afterlife too. Archaeologists have made their most significant discovery yet, a large cemetery.
We found 17 individuals which have been buried, and a lot of charnel remains as well in the earlier graves.
The remains they uncover are cleaned by volunteers in a pop-up lab next to the site.
What have you found then? Anything particularly piquing your interest? Yeah, this is all human. Yeah.
Here, my expertise in human anatomy comes in handy.
So what part of the body would that be from?
That is from the sacrum, so it's from the very lowest part of the spine. And then what you've got here is a range of finger bones. You've got some metacarpals, so they sit there in the hand. Yeah. It's amazing that it's all laying there underneath the department store.
Yeah.
Did you went there, did you?
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought.
Isn't that bizarre? Yeah.
St Saviour's was at the centre of life in medieval Haverfordwest for centuries. That was until Henry VIII broke away from the Catholic Church in Rome in 1534. And then came the dissolution of the monasteries, when religious property across the land was seized by the Crown. On September the 2nd, 1538, St Saviour's suffered this fate.
This material hasn't been moved and it's just sat here for these hundreds of years. To have the opportunity to excavate these deeply stratified deposits in the medieval Haverfordwest is the first. And it's a privilege to do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we've uncovered and still have a few months to go.
It turns out Fran's words were full of wisdom, as sure enough, 3 months after I left the site, the team find further evidence that this was St Saviour's. They uncover more burials, a lot more.
We have been in the process of excavating, well, nearly 280 skeletons so far. If I'd known initially that it was going to be this many, I probably would have panicked. But as it was, we just had to cope.
This was clearly a very large cemetery, the final resting place for the whole community of Haverfordwest, old and young.
So we've got 2 child burials here. So this one maybe about 2 or 3 year old, and I would say that this one's about under 10.
The team have uncovered burials from the 13th right up to the 17th century, beyond the life of the friary.
Each one of them carries unique information about their life. Some of the people in their lifetime probably were suffering from syphilis because we can see the effects on the bones. And rheumatism, spina bifida, that information we can't get from any other type of find.
In the earlier layers from around the 14th century, the team believe they've found evidence of the friars themselves.
We're at the western end of the site, and we excavated a number of stacked graves, very neatly aligned east-west. They were all adults, and their feet came right up against the wall. It does suggest that they could be friars.
Could this be the evidence Fran's been seeking of an actual friary building?
It would suggest that there is a building that is to the west of this wall, but we have very little evidence for floors, and that is confusing us, I think. They just seem to have been taken away completely.
At the other end of the site, though, it seems they have found the religious heart of the friary, the church.
What we are revealing are stone-lined crypts that have contained coffins, which we are sure have been below a building that stood above them.
One medieval burial from the earliest years of St Saviour's confirms Fran's conclusions.
It was interred in a coffin, and it was then put in a stone-lined tomb.
Found with the male skeleton in this high-status tomb were a pewter chalice and a plate, otherwise known as a paten, the objects used for offering bread and wine during a mass.
Only priests can celebrate mass, so we think it's a priest's burial, and it is rare, and I've never seen it before.
And where he's buried adds weight to Fran's theory that they've found the original friary church.
It wouldn't be uncommon for a priest to be buried at the eastern end of the church, nearest the altar. It's difficult to say because we've lost all the above ground, and all we're getting is what survived below ground. But we hope by the end of it we'll have a much clearer idea.
Further work will help Fran finally plot the exact positions of the friary and its church. But what's clear is that this Haverfordwest dig has led to one of the most important medieval discoveries in all of West Wales.
A prehistoric house, you're probably thinking of a round house built of timber with a thatch or a turf roof. And these types of houses were fairly ubiquitous in the Bronze Age and the Iron Age. and leave the faintest of archaeological traces. But if we go back even earlier, into the tail end of the Stone Age, the Neolithic, in some places we see very different forms, larger, more substantial, and even startlingly modern.
For our next dig, we head to Northern Ireland and the outskirts of Londonderry. Centuries before Stonehenge was built, as farming culture swept across the British Isles, in places it came with a radical new style of building. In 2021, archaeologists were digging on Cluny Road in Derry before developers moved in to build new homes. But it turned out that people had lived here before, thousands of years ago. The archaeologists uncovered rare evidence of 2 Neolithic dwellings. The archaeology is incredibly well preserved. The outline of the houses is clear to see, and they're distinctly rectangular and surprisingly spacious.
It's our excavation here at the Cluny Road in Derry.
Katie McMonagle from Northern Archaeological Consultancy shows us around her Neolithic des res.
So this is one of our very impressive Neolithic houses. These date from roughly 3800 BC till about 3500 BC. And as you can see here, very impressive walls here, slots that would have been used as a foundation and probably would have been filled with oak planks that would have been supported by the outside post holes here, which are massive. So these would have been really substantial structures, probably supporting a massive roof that would have been peaked at the top and come right down.
With a footprint of over 100 square metres, the larger house would have dwarfed the average home of today.
That's very big for a Neolithic house. So you're probably talking about 20 to 25 people, an extended family group of people living in this lovely flat landscape where it would have been beautifully wooded, which is where they probably got their oak posts from to build their house.
And for Stone Age times, it seems rather modern living. The teams found evidence of internal walls used to subdivide the house.
This is where we think the house was separated into 2. There's not as much digging in here, pits and things, so it shows maybe that this is more where they were actually living. So it shows a more homely life here and a more working life here.
The teams found evidence of Neolithic food preparation, a quernstone.
As you can see, it's quite smooth on the surface. This is where they would have been grinding down. And then this is our grinding stone. So basically like this sort of motion for grinding down grain, which is obviously going to be very commonly associated with a home, you know, if you're making food and stuff like that.
The discovery of burnt surfaces suggests several hearths, and evidence of more prehistoric modcons keeps on coming.
These are what we think are stake holes. Probably show that they're used for hanging things on, food and things like that off the ground, or possibly to help cook certain things as well. You can imagine people actually sitting in here, eating their dinner, all those kind of things.
In the last few months, the team have found nearly 1,000 fragments of Neolithic pottery in this home alone.
Oh yeah, lovely. That's great.
We have some Neolithic ware. It's a bit dirty, but sure it'll shine up nicely.
Just found some lovely pottery coming up just in the side of our wall slot.
We've got a fair bit of pottery coming out of this bit.
Oh, nice.
Some decent sized pieces and some bits with the rim still on it.
Neolithic houses are found throughout Ireland, but our house here on the Cluny Road in Derry, it's huge, and as well coupled with the house at the back, it also shows that these people have been living here for such a long period of time.
Cluny Road is a remarkable site, giving us a privileged insight into the Neolithic settlers of Derry. But there's more to learn from the finds, so Katie has come along to the digging tent.
Now, Katie,
Katie, thank you so much for bringing these finds in, and my eyes immediately grabbed by that aerial photograph of your site.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to ask, well, where's the archaeology then? But it's it's so
obvious.
extraordinary. And then what about the finds? You brought in a selection
here.
There's been,
so out of the bigger house here, this is some Neolithic carinated bowl, and these are most likely used for food vessels.
Right, okay.
This would be a carination. We've got sort of like a wee lip that comes out. So these vessels all would have been bowls. So carrying water, cooking, all those kind of things. So it leads to the conclusion that it is definitely domestic setting. People are living here, eating here, working here.
I mean, it's well made. It's quite thin, isn't it?
Yeah. Like these people are very skilled.
Very regular. And this is not wheel thrown, is it?
This would have been more likely they would have made sort of like sausages of clay and then coiled it and then formed it like with thumbs and things like that.
That one's got a hole in it.
This is probably one of the nicer finds that we had. So we think maybe that this is for using to hang it. So whether it be over the fire, something like that, or even carry it if it's for water.
That is
lovely. That is
lovely.
really nice, really nice.
Now what about these lovely flints?
Yeah, these are amazing. Yeah, so this came out of the wall slot. So this is a plano-convex knife.
So it's flat on one side,
yes,
and convex on the other.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very, very well napped. All this here is beautiful. Like, these people are very highly skilled. Like, it's crazy. And for these kind of things, on the rest of the British Isles, these are actually found in the Bronze Age.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in Ireland, they become a lot earlier. So they are found in early Neolithic contexts.
Katie, what's this little one?
So that is early Neolithic hollow scraper. So this is quite unique to Ireland, actually. So as you can see in here, you've got serrated edge.
Really finely serrated.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we think possibly these were used for stripping bark.
Yes, it's got to be for stripping something which is cylindrical in profile.
Yes.
And then you're moving that along and stripping it.
We found that from the first building. So whether or not they were stripping bark to be used in the house themselves, it's hard to know.
It's really lovely. Mysteriously, this style of large rectangular houses with stone foundations is unique to Ireland and Scotland, but the trend doesn't last long.
So for dating, you're talking about sort of 3,800 BC to 3,600 BC. And a lot of work was done based on hazelnut shells, which actually narrowed the time frame to about 90 years of use.
Right, okay.
So they are very short-lived.
Yeah.
Whether they just change their minds and decide to go back to roundhouses, who knows? But they're a very short-lived phenomenon, and I think that in itself is just amazing. To only have it for 90 years is just crazy.
I wonder why they stopped making them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very strange thing, and I don't know, like in my mind, that's nicer than a roundhouse.
And you've got that delicious mystery as well.
Yes, obviously, yes, of why they change. And I think that is a big question that needs to be answered. Why does it change? And why is it so short-lived?
While archaeologists try to crack this mystery, we can only marvel at these grand, imposing testaments to Neolithic ingenuity.